Namaskaram, Namaskaram. Namaskaram, sir. Dr. MRI, Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Dr.
Good
MRI,
evening.
good
How are
evening.
you? How are you, Dr. Kutty?
I am good. How are you? How are you?
Ravi is here. Very happy to hear him.
Ravi is here.
We have worked together for a long time.
Okay. Today's speaker, na?
Yes.
Dr. PM Ravi, no?
Okay, thank you.
Where is Ravi? I'm not able to see Ravi here.
Yeah.
You may join, I think.
He may join, yeah. Now, what happened for schools, colleges, this exam time? I don't know whether students will be participating or not.
Oh, yeah.
College.
Okay.
There are exam time. No, I talked to college. They're telling some problem is there. They may not come. Some people may not come.
Yeah.
Parsar sir. Dr. Parsardi. Welcome. Parsardi is there. Who is this?
Hello, Kutty. Can you hear?
I can hear you. No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
I
don't know. Somebody make a lot of noise.
Yeah. Okay. All microphones are on. That is why it's okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. Where is Ravi? Ravi is here? Our speaker?
Chief guest and speaker.
Where is Ravi? I had to call him. Or not? Not able to see him. He's joining. Ravi is coming. Ravi is
Okay.
Ravi, namaskaram. Where are you? Ravi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Put on the video is off. I think. We are not able to see it. We are not able to see it.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Nice to meet all of you. Hello, good evening.
All veterans. All veterans.
Good evening, Ayyar sir. Good evening.
Not even 8 o'clock. We'll wait. We have to wait some more time. You are ready now, Ravi, with the presentation. You want to try?
Yeah, I'll just open it and see whether it is.
Open it, whether everything okay or not.
Okay. I think you are disabled.
I had to give permission. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
1 minute. Okay, this is good. That
no, I can do.
You can do.
Let's not discuss about that.
Yes, coming.
It's visible, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can make it full screen.
Okay, I'll do.
Okay. Okay. Now you can minimize it.
Okay.
So that we can see each other. Oh. So only 8 o'clock. We'll wait some 2-3 minutes.
Sure.
Can you make it minimize so that we can see each other?
Okay.
Or you can restart it again, I think.
How to minimize it? I don't know.
Otherwise you cut it again start.
I'll come out of it and then do it.
Ah,
again.
you come out of it. I cut
You can cut me. You can cut me.
I cannot. You just then we'll start it now. When you start, otherwise we are not able to see each other.
Okay. Wait a minute. Stop video.
Minimize. Chaudhary Saab, namaskaram. Chaudhary Saab.
Namaskar.
How are you? It's okay now. It's okay. It's okay. So how are you, Chaudhary Saab? How are you?
Fine. Presently, I am in Ratnagiri.
You're from Ratnagiri with your son.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, right. Shankarayan has joined. Shankarayan.
Yes.
Okay.
And കട്ടിൽ മാത്രമേ കാണാനുള്ളല്ലോ
എന്താ
only baldness we can see.
I will adjust my baldness.
Good.
So what time we start?
Another 2 minutes.
By 8:05 or so we'll start.
Okay.
Where is the president?
President may not come. He's saying he's busy with something else.
Oh, okay.
He may come or may not come.
Sir, Parthasari sir, good evening.
Ravi sir. Can you hear me? Yeah.
We can hear you.
Oh, yes,
We can hear you.
very much.
I would like to Krishna Prasad.
Yes. I'm here. Nice seeing you.
The other day I was thinking about about the trip we made to Lucknow.
Right. Last 2 months back only I remember the trip.
Do you remember who came with us in addition? Prasad?
അച്ഛാ നിങ്ങൾ വരൂ.
So shall we start then? Shall we start?
Oh, yes. I mean,
So I'm going to mute all.
yeah.
Time being. So we'll start then. Can you hear me? Hello? Can I hear you? Gentlemen?
You can hear.
Okay. Mute it. Okay. Okay, sir. Good evening. We welcome you all for the 8th webinar of 2021 of Atomic Energy Retirees Association of Kerala. Our warm greetings to our chief guest, Dr. P.M. Devi, our president, Dr. K.K. Surendranathan, our secretary, Sri K.K.P. Nair, members of managing committee, members of awareness program, students, teachers, retirees, and our friends from DAE and non-DAE institutions. Measurement of radiation and other pollutants around nuclear facilities form the most important component of environmental monitoring program. This measurement ensures that permitted discharge result in a very small dose to the employees as well as to the members of public living around a nuclear power plant. A systematic environmental monitoring is carried out to ensure that impact of the public is negligible as compared to the natural radiation. To talk more about the objective of environmental monitoring around nuclear facilities in India, we have an eminent scientist, Dr. P.M. Devi, with us. We wholeheartedly welcome Dr. Devi and thankful to you for accepting our invitation. My colleague, Sri E.G. Nambudiri, will introduce Dr. Devi to the audience. These words, I conclude my introductory remarks and request Sri Nambudiri to introduce our chief guest to the audience. To Nambudiri.
Yes, sir. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Respected President, Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer, and members of EC and AERK, and our guests from various parts of India who have joined this webinar today evening. And also our chief guest and speaker, Dr. Devi PM. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this webinar. Our speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Devi, is, as Dr. T.R.G. Kutty told, is a well-known environmentalist. I had a lot of interactions with him when he was Environmental Survey Lab Head, that is ESL Lab Head at Kaiga Nuclear Plant. I was station chemist at that time. Dr. Devi was in charge of measuring and finding the quality of air, soil, water, and agricultural products in and around Kaiga Generating Station, that is known as KGS. From KGS, Dr. Ravi joined headquarters at BRC as head environmental studies. From where he retired. Dr. Ravi got his PhD from Mumbai University and postdoctoral fellowship from Bordeaux University in France under Marie Curie Fellowship Program of European Commission. He retired from BRC in April 2019 as head environmental studies section of Health Physics Division. At present, he is working as adjunct professor, Center for Advanced Research in Environmental Radioactivity, that is CARER, of Mangalore University. He has actively participated in environmental monitoring and environmental modeling activities of International Atomic Energy Agency, that is IAEA in Vienna. He has participated in IAEA expert mission and coordination and DAE University Collaborative Research Projects. He also participated. um, sorry, sorry. DAE University collaborative commissioning of atomic energy. He has also participated in a commissioning of Atomic Energy Regulatory Board as chairman and member of the coordinating committee. He has been awardee of Dr. A.K. Ganguly Felicitation Prize from the Indian Association for Radiation Protection, that is IARP. His current fields of interest are understanding the mechanism of environmental transport of radionuclides and other elements, understanding bioavailability of minerals in soil, and optimization using artificial intelligence in sustainable farming and use of food items. I wish on behalf of all of us him all the best in his future endeavors. Now, and thanks. Now I request T.R.G. Kutty to take over the day.
Dr. Ravi, now you can start. Ravi, you can start now.
I think you should allow me to open the presentation. I mean, share the screen.
Yeah, screen.
I already allowed, already done. Already done.
Is it? I think some another screen is in there in the.
That is yours from your side.
No, it is not. It is not my screen. Somebody else's screen is now displayed in this.
No, you have to start. You start your presentation. Then it will go away. That's what I feel.
Wait a minute.
What is this? Somebody I also seen some screenshot. I don't know. Who is this? Somebody is waiting for now.
But how to come out of this? That is what I'm trying to understand. Wait a minute. Yeah. I think it is okay.
You start your presentation. It will go away.
I'll do that. Is it visible now? Presentation?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Probably I have to share it again.
I don't know whose screen it is, but you have to.
I think that you cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing. Like that, it is a message I am getting.
Oh, I don't know who is doing that. Stop.
I don't know. It is.
Now you try. Now it will come.
Okay.
Yeah, Aparna Gayer, you only, no? Yeah, yes.
I only. No. Is it visible now?
You try, start.
No, can you?
No.
Hear?
No, not yet.
No.
Wait a minute.
Now it's coming. Okay.
It's coming now. Right?
It is come. Make it full screen and start.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. First of all, thanks to Mr. E.G. and Ambudiri for giving an introduction. And at the outset, I would like to thank Atomic Energy Retirees Association for giving me a chance to present my view on the environmental monitoring and impact assessment around nuclear facilities. I'd like to really appreciate all the office bearers of Atomic Energy Retirees Association, especially Sri Kutty Saab, for taking such an important assignment of giving an overview of the atomic energy programs to students especially, because as a retiree from such a scientific institute, it is our duty to be to make the people aware of this part and give a quality information to those people. In that context, I'm really appreciating the efforts by Atomic Energy Retirees Association, especially Kutty sir. He took a lot of effort in doing the organizing the program, and then also giving me a training in the morning. He spent a lot of time on that, and I'm a little embarrassed to talk on this topic in front of great experts like Parthasaji Sahib and Dr. Iyer Sahib. I'm sure if they will correct me whenever I go wrong, or of course there are other experts also, and I request all of them. And Kutty Sahib told me that there are a lot of students attending this, so my presentation is a little bit oriented towards the university students, so it will be a little redundant for our these DAE colleagues. I'll be talking a little bit fundamental of that. I hope you don't mind on that, because it was specifically made for the students. And see, this is the nature's resource for making the universe. So the whole life is the whole universe is made up of hardly few 92 plus elements, and the life is sustained by mainly few lighter elements, say like say wait a minute, I'll just take the pen. So this like hydrogen, and the first few groups of the periodic table, like hydrogen, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and a few elements like sodium, magnesium. And with that, a few elements, we are able to, the whole life is maintained, and the remaining things are not very much important for the sustenance of the life. And in fact, 99% of the human body mass consists of 6 main elements, like say oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Of course, there are other few micro elements or which are required for sustenance of life, but that is very, very small amount. And if you look at the periodic table, you will find that there are the elements. Hello, the elements of, when you go higher elements, heavy elements, we know that the nucleus becomes unstable, and like say uranium and uranium and thorium like element, they are there are nucleus is very unstable because of the large number of neutrons and protons in it, and because of the instability, they undergo the process called radioactivity, which is nothing but the spontaneous emission of these particles like alpha, beta, and gamma. And in fact, accidentally, it was by an accident that radioactivity was detected by Henry Becquerel. In fact, he was doing some studies on the luminescence of uranium salt. By the time, probably they may be aware of the heavy elements like uranium has some property which is hitherto unknown. So he was studying the luminescence of uranium, and he has covered with a photographic paper, and found that even without any excitation with sunlight, it is giving some radiation, or rather the photographic plate shows some sense of sensed some radiation. And later this was a surprise to him, and later by Marie Curie and Pierre Curie studies found that this is because of the alpha emission from radium and polonium from pitch blende, that is uranium salt. In fact, there is a story, love story of the Marie Curie and Pierre Curie, which is in one of the films. Of course, I have not seen the film. I am not very good in English film, seeing English film, but if somebody is interested, they can watch. He talks about the love story between Marie Curie and Pierre Curie, and how this radioactivity. The film name is radioactivity itself. So, and that shows how the invention, or rather the discovery of radioactivity was done, and a lot of interaction of between the family, and of course it was further taken up by her daughter and son-in-law, and then it went up to the X-ray mission and all those things. And it was a time when of course, in 1896 and 1897, it was a time when J.J. Thomson had discovered electron, and later Rutherford, by the time when 1902, people knew about the alpha scattering, alpha rays, and Rutherford used that alpha rays for discovery of the positive charge in the nucleus. And later his own student Chadwick discovered a neutron from the nucleus, and this was further followed by the artificial transmutation of radioactivity, and then fission and atomic bomb and nuclear reactor and all those things. I'll not go into the deep details into that. And for the benefit of students, just we know that there are mainly three particles: alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha is nothing but the helium nucleus with 2 neutrons and 2 protons, and it is very heavy, and it is a doubly ionized helium nuclide. And beta is nothing but electron, but with the only difference between the orbital electron and beta is its high energy, because it is emitting from the nucleus. And alpha, gamma rays, it is part of the electromagnetic radiation. And electromagnetic radiation, you are all familiar. If you put it in the decreasing order of its wavelength, you will find that radio waves, which is a comparatively high wavelength, which can even hop around a building or even a hills sort of things. And as you go towards the right side, you will find that the wavelength decreases, or it becomes the waves become more sharpened, and then it is radio waves are followed by microwaves, which is very commonly used for the drying and all those things. And then comes the infrared radiation, and then visible light, which we all use for our viewing and all those things. And then it is followed by ultraviolet, and then X-rays and gamma rays. And they are gamma rays, even it is too, the wavelength is so small and energy is so high. It has become, it is very highly energetic. And the difference between these X-rays and gamma rays with other microwaves and all those things, it is ionizing. It is the ionizing. When it passes through a medium, it ionizes the atoms in that medium, because the energy is so high in million electron volts. So this is the basic reason for the biological property of this radiation is because of its ionizing property. And we radiation protection people always confuse when there is people say that there are so many units for radioactivity, and once we become familiar with some, then we change the unit. So I think now we all have to use the SI unit, and becquerel is the unit for radioactivity, the presence of radioactivity, and it is nothing but 1 disintegration per second. That 1 disintegration per second, if it happens, that is having an activity of 1 becquerel. And that as I had mentioned earlier, alpha particles is a heavy, and it can even penetrate. It gets cut off by a small paper itself, while beta has better penetrating power. It needs it can pass through air a few centimeter, and also it gets cut off by the comparatively thick plastic sheet. And the gamma radiation can pass through few meters in air, and one need to have very strong shielding materials like concrete, steel, lead, etc. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the biological effects of radiation is mainly due to the ionizing power. We know that our human body contains about 70% of the water, and it is surprising to that there are 37. I mean, this I got from the internet. There are 1,000 billion chemical reactions are taking place in the human body, and if you if this when the radiation passes through this, these biomolecules like the atoms which is present in these biomolecules, in one of them or some of them can undergo ionization, and it can lead to highly different excited state or chemical state, which will hamper the normal metabolic reactions that are taking place, and on a long run this can lead to effects like cancer. Of course, body is a wonderful thing. It has its own capacity to recover from the damages caused, but if the ionization rate or the reaction rate is much more than the recovery capacity of the human body, then there is a possibility of long run effects like cancer and all. And if it happens to be in the genetic material, there is a possibility of hereditary effects also, which can pass through next generation. Now, while trying to understand the biological effect of radiation, it is a little bit confusing in the sense it's a very uncertain. First of all, the impact of radiation itself, the manifestation of the radiation on the molecules itself is a random phenomena, and also there is the measurement of the effects also has some uncertainty. So it's the understanding the biological effects of radiation is a little bit confusing and uncertain rather. So, for example, if you take say more than 1,000 millisievert or so, there is no much confusion because there is a certainty is almost 100% that the effects are known. You can even measure the effect if the dose is more than 1,000 millisievert. So before that, I just wanted to, 1 sievert is nothing but 1 joules per kg of energy absorbed. So I will not go details into that. So just for understanding. So 1,000 millisievert, if somebody is getting exposed, it is certain that the effect of radiation is very well known. But if you, this is clinically observed already in the individuals. But the problem comes when it goes down to, say, lower side, then we are not sure about the effect of radiation. See, for example, if you irradiate a group of people, then statistically there is a possibility of some people getting radiation. So one has to depend upon epidemiological studies at this, because you will not get individually, you may not get any effect. So one has to depend upon the statistically estimated for population using epidemiological studies. But even studies have shown that even up to say above 100 millisievert, this is well known. This statistically, this is confirmed. That is, there is a risk can be estimated with a fairly good uncertainty. Say, of course, maybe a little bit 5% or more than that. So, but when it comes to lower than 100 millisievert, then the problem comes. We are not sure whether there is any effect or not. It is almost here the problem comes. All the issues like recovery capacity of the human body. Biologically, yes, biologically it is known that it can lead to or physically and chemically, one can say that there is a possibility of ionization and there is a possibility of damage to the biomolecules, but the um, uh, capacity to recover, that physiology part comes into picture, and the physiology changes from individual to individual. So it is very difficult to say whether at this level whether there is any real effect or not. So, hello. So, so hello. However, in view of this uncertainty involved in this, the regulatory board, regulator says that there is a possibility even if a small dose is dangerous. So that is why the so-called the ALARA principles and all those things comes. And why I talked about this is because in the case of environment, we are dealing with such small amount of radiation, because the amount of radiation the people are getting due to the environmental discharges are so small, and we are dealing with that in this area, which is very close to the natural background which we are getting. So if you look at the dose curve, this area is what we are looking at. But I don't know whether there are many people, many scientists feel that there is a threshold, but it is very difficult to prove that whether there is a threshold or not for the radiation. So we have to, as on today, we have to depend upon the Lanty theory, and all the regulations are based on that. And in environmental monitoring also, we follow that this thing. As I told earlier, the natural radiation is, we are in a sea of radiation. So, you know, like this, we know the story of the Prahlada and Hiranya. He says that Hiranya asks, "Where is your God?" Then he says that Prahlada says, "Yes, God is everywhere." Like that, this radiation is also there everywhere. The cosmic radiation, which is well known, and it is coming from the cosmos, which is from the stars and galaxies and all those things, which we are living with this radiation for the last time immemorial rather. And there is, as you go up, since it is coming from the galaxies and all cosmic, as you go up, the cosmic radiation intensity increases, and people traveling in flight and all will get much more dose than a person living in the ground state. Another source of radiation, natural radiation I mean, is the food we eat. It contains natural radionuclides like potassium-40 and C14. And another very omnipresent is the radionuclides, terrestrial radionuclides present in construction material and soil, etc. So whatever you make, any material you make from out of a natural thing, you are bound to get exposed to radiation from the uranium and its daughter products, especially radon, which gets built up in the closed environment, and it can lead to natural exposure. In fact, radon is a major contributor, natural contributor to radiation to the member of the public. And another important area is the high background area, which we are all well known. These are the high background area of the Chavara and Nindagara and all coastal belts of Kerala and Tamil Nadu is very famous, and probably we are one of the richest source of thorium in the world. And in fact, I used to wonder, we have lived in this high background area for centuries together along with thorium, but how we missed detecting the radioactivity. Anyway, it is a surprise to all of us. But in fact, it was told that the uranium, the thorium in the sand of western coast was first identified by a German scientist when he measured he observed some the material, surprising material like monazite in coir, which he imported from in India, and also he started a factory somewhere in Germany, and later I think in India also. Of course, after World War, it was to be closed, and all those things, that history is like that. And there are our this western coast looks like this. The colored part is nothing but monazite, which is very rich in thorium. And of course, there are other naturally high background areas also, which is well known. I am not going to the details about that. And human made are also contributed a little bit to the environmental radioactivity, like the application of radioactivity in medical and agricultural industries. And also another thing was the fallout from nuclear weapons. Immediately after the World War, there was a competition between the countries, like the developed countries, in testing their atomic weapons. And till I think 1960 or so, there was atmospheric weapon tests going on by developed countries that has released a lot of environmental radioactivity to the atmosphere in the northern hemisphere. Further, it got transported due to wind and all those things to other parts of the world. And you find even now the detectable amount of cesium-137 and strontium 90 in the environment due to the atomic weapon tests. And of course, power industry is also, though it is extremely less, it also contributes to the radioactivity, environmental radioactivity. And if you look at the contribution from various sources, as I told, radon is the major contributor to environmental dose to the general public. And of course, there are cosmic radiation, and then medical, and the terrestrial radioactivity like uranium, thorium, and all. And in fact, the fuel cycle is hardly very less. Contribution from the is very less, and it is the that small contribution we are trying to find out from the environmental monitoring. This thing. And nuclear fuel cycle as a whole, I don't have to mention, but we know that the mining is a major thing. One of the uranium mining is the first thing, and then tailings that can lead to a little bit of the radium and all that may get it may get released to the environment. And then of course there are the conversion and the fuel fabrication. Fuel fabrication is a fairly clean operation. There is no much radioactivity coming and to the environment rather. And then it goes to the reactor, and reactor is the area where the inventory of radionuclides, especially short-lived and long-lived, all are being handled, and there is a potential chance of radioactivity released from the reactor. And of course there are a reprocessing plant also, but the reprocessing plant we are dealing with after a few years of decay, so short-lived activity will be comparatively less. Only you will be dealing mainly with a reactor, the long-lived radionuclide. So the most of the environmental laboratories are located around a nuclear power station. Of course, it is most of our reactor has some reprocessing plant also. So reprocessing plant is associated with the reactor. So environmental monitoring is carried out to assess the impact from reactor as well as reprocessing, and of course waste management, etc. And those who are not very familiar with the operation of a nuclear reactor, it is we follow the reactor follow very strict regulatory role, and the design itself takes care of the containment and ensure that radioactivity released to the environment is extremely less. See, for example, actually the core is somewhere here, and the core is surrounded by the primary transport system, which is again a closed system, and the water, this heat generated in the fission is taken up by the primary coolant water, and that heat is transported to the steam generator. My student colleagues, again I wanted to say that there is no matter, the water will not go into the steam generator, only the heat gets transferred. So there is the radioactive material will be normally contained within the primary circuit only, and the chances of radioactivity going into the other part is extremely less. And then steam generator produces steam, and that which takes into the turbine and rotates the turbine, and that is how the reactor works. So the defense in depth philosophy followed in this ensures that there are several barriers for radioactivity to enter into the environment. So unless these barriers are breached, the chances of radioactivity entering to the environment is extremely less. See, for example, the actual fission takes place in the pellet of the uranium pellet, and that is surrounded by a cladding, fuel cladding, which is closed, and that is again a coolant channel is around that cladded material, and then of course there is a reactor core further on that, and then you have the primary containment, and then further again on the secondary containment, and then you have normally the public will reside at a little far away from the power plant, and there is an exclusion zone. So the chance of radioactivity reaching the public habitation is extremely less. So these defense in depth study philosophy ensures that there is the chance of radioactivity entering into the public domain is very less. But nevertheless, there is a continuous environmental monitoring to ensure that or rather demonstrate that the dose to the member of the public is extremely less. That is what the environmental survey laboratories do. And one of the important aspect of nuclear power is that it is called as green power. Why? Because there is no release of the greenhouse gases like NOx or CO2, and there is no fluorocarbons, so no release of bio waste of toxic waste. So it is generally called a green process. So in the context of the global warming and all, the nuclear power is projected as one of the green power which can which can reduce the emission of radionuclides, emission of carbon dioxide to the environment, and mitigate the effect of global warming. And of course, during the operation of the reactor, there is a possibility of production of a little bit waste, like liquid waste and gaseous waste and solid waste. Of course, there are a very systematic procedure for the treatment of the waste. For example, the liquid waste is treated and then monitored, and then only allowed to release once it reaches the environment, is ensured that it is well within the limits. And also gaseous waste also is filtered properly using a high efficiency particulate filter paper, a filter bank, and then only it is allowed to come to the environment. And we deal with radionuclides like the chances of strontium 90 is a beta emitter, cesium 137 is a gamma emitter, cobalt 60, tritium of course is a soft beta emitter, and there is also possibility of argon 41 and krypton 88 like small inert gases, and especially through the gaseous environment. And these are the radionuclides for which we have to, an environmental person has to take care and carry out the monitoring. So now if you look at what happens once it is released to the environment. So it passes through the gaseous, and then it gets deposited due to wet deposition and dry deposition, and deposits on the vegetation surface and also on the soil. And once it is deposited on the soil, it may again picked up by a root to the other parts of the plant, and this can be eaten by, say, cows or cattle, and then it may go into the milk, and then it may get into the other products like vegetables, fish, and all those things. And there can be a possibility of radiation getting by the public, member of the public, by, say, direct radiation from the plume, and then activity deposited on the soil may give an external dose. And also main contribution come from the ingestion, that is the deposited activity can lead to the contamination of the vegetable products and the animal products, and that can be eaten by general public, and then that can lead to ingestion dose. So environmental monitoring, the main objective of environmental monitoring is to ensure that the environment around is clean, that is the soil is inhabitable, the air is breathable, that is quality of the air with respect to radiological properties. I mean, the air is breathable and the water is drinkable and food is eatable. I mean, the radioactivity present in these environmental compartments are well within the limits, and the limits are so less that one has to take a large amount of sample. The major challenge in environmental monitoring is the amount of radioactivity which we are dealing is extremely less. So in order to say that there is a radioactivity is well within the limits, you have to do a sampling, a large amount of samples, and you have to process them properly, concentrate them, and measure accurately the radioactivity in that environment. This is the major challenge. And the activity which we are dealing, as I told, we are all very close to the environmental level, so natural level. So over and above the natural radioactivity, is there any impact? This is what the purpose of the environmental monitoring. Now, the most important, one of the most important parts of the environmental monitoring is the weather monitoring. That is, as I mentioned earlier, the activity which is getting released into the atmosphere follows the weather pattern, like wind speed, wind direction, etc. And then it gets dispersed in the environment, atmosphere. So in order to understand to which direction the plume goes, one has to have a very very accurate weather monitoring, environmental weather monitoring. So they carry out the measurement of wind speed, wind direction, etc. using tower-based instruments, and then nowadays people are also using surface instruments like a SODAR system and all. So that gives you the wind speed, wind direction, and the atmospheric turbulence parameters that will tell you what is to which direction the plume has gone, and what is the likely concentration at different locations on a continuous basis. One can understand. And In addition to that, the environmental survey laboratories, they carry out a thorough sampling around the environment around the power station. They carry out, say for example, water sampling, especially at if it is a marine or the freshwater system. They take samples at different depths. They also take sediment sample. You can imagine there is one has to take sample at very low depth, like sir, at 10 meter, 20 meter depth of water. From that down below, you have to take the sediment sample. So that sort of sampling systems are available in the environmental survey laboratories, and they take the soil samples also, and they also take the biological samples like cereals, pulses, and the other biotas like fish and vegetables, etc. And of course, there is the air sampling system also, like the continuous air sampling. One can measure even PM 2.5 and PM 10, and the radioactivity in this for various particle size one can measure, and these sampling methods of air, water, vegetables, pulses, etc. are done. And as I told you, that a lot of processing is required, because you have to estimate large amount of sample. You take, say for example, 5 kg of soil sample, and one has to process them. What we normally do is you sieve the sample and separate into particle size, because the particle size, as the particle size decreases, the activity concentration may increase because of the surface area of absorption. So one has to estimate what is the particle size, radioactivity level at various particle size. Similarly, biological samples, the most important issue is, say if you take some, say 5 kg of say leaf sample, it contains large amount of water. Say for example, 70% of the that biological sample is water. So you have to remove that water by drying them, and the remaining, once it is dried, then what is remaining is the organic compound, organic parts, and that organic part has to be oxidized. Like carbon has to be oxidized to carbon dioxide, water has to be oxidized, hydrogen has to be oxidized to water. So what is finally remaining is the ash. After removing that organic part, what is remaining is that ash. This ash contains the radionuclides like cesium-137, strontium-90, etc. So now we have started from 5 kg of the sample, and we ended up in a few grams or grams. So that much of processing has to be carried out, and that takes a lot of time for doing this process. And in this, now you have to measure the radioactivity present in that. Now we have, when you have to measure the alpha activity, then the ash sample has to be separated. The alpha activity has to be separated by the long procedure, radiochemical procedures, and then you get these electrodeposited or deposited in the stainless steel plunger, and then you measure by a zinc sulfide or a suitable alpha counting system. Similarly, beta also, like strontium-90, etc. We separate them by radiochemical procedures, and then measure by beta counting system. And of course, cesium-137, etc. we may use gamma spectrometer system, and elements like C14 and tritium, it has very low beta energy, so one cannot use the beta counting system. So one has to use liquid scintillation counting system, like which can measure very low levels of low energy radionuclides. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the radioactivity present in the atmosphere, I mean, this environment is extremely less. So now you cannot measure the dose is assessed by using the activity concentration data present in taken from the various samples, and for that one use the various habits of the people, like how long they are there in the outside, how long they are there inside the house, and how long they will be exposed to soil, how long they will be exposed to bloom, and what is how much water they drink, how much milk they take, how much other vegetables and fruits, cereals, pulses, etc. So this data will be available with people, and then the intake is calculated, and the radiological models are there. With that, one measure the dose to the member of the public. This is how the environmental monitoring and impact assessment is carried out. Now, having done that, our experience for the several years, we clearly indicate that the dose to the member of the public is extremely less, thanks to the highly safe operation of the power plant, and the design features followed in this reactor, and the strict control over the releases. So the dose is, you can say, it's extremely less, and compared to the one which is natural dose, it is almost, you can say, negligible. Now, having told all those things, now is it necessary to continue the environmental? Of course, this is my purely my own view, and of course this can be debated upon, and there can be a difference of opinion, and I'm just put forwarding my own view. And means what I wanted to say is, since this dose is very less, and one should go for an automated system, one should be able to measure the dose at the fence post using a continuous monitoring system, and also one has to use the latest technologies like artificial intelligence and the information technology for data processing and decision making, so that you are reducing the conventional measurement of radionuclides at the environment. But of course, there is a need for there is no. I'm not telling that we need not do the conventional monitoring, but probably once, if you are confident about the dose measured at the fence post, and if you are confident about the quality of impact assessment using modeling, then one can say that this can be used, and it should be validated using frequent measurement at the environment. And of course, there is a need for R&D to study more about the environmental transport, and also to know about the mechanism of transport, and also one has to measure the site-specific parameters for a better or more accurate environmental impact assessment. This is what I wanted to convey to you, and I'll be happy if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Ravi. Thank you very much. Now, open for questions. Dr. Ravi Sharma want to ask all the questions. Ravi Sharma. Dr. Ravi Sharma.
Yeah, please.
Hello,
Ravi Sharma, yeah.
can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I have a lot of questions, but Dr. Ravi, I have two that are in my mind, which are also going to be of general interest.
Okay.
How do we establish equivalence among different types of radiations? For example, so many minutes to this much keV of X-rays versus so many seconds of so many MeV gamma rays.
Yeah.
Let's stay with only one type, like in photon sense.
Okay.
Second question is, equivalence between very low level, long-term dosage versus short-term, higher radiation dosage. These are two equivalence questions which translate into many that I put on the chat about the thresholds.
Okay. So, okay, the answer to your questions, it goes a little beyond my area of expertise, but still, I will try to answer the first question. That is, what is the equivalence of? This is what I understand. The equivalence of effect of different types of energy radiation like X-ray and gamma ray, etc. And of course, we all know that the impact. Basically it is ionization, and the impact depends upon the energy of radiation and the medium, and then cross sections and so many things. And to the best of my knowledge, there are some tables available for unit activity or unit dose rate. What is the impact? These type of tables are available in the internet. I mean, in the literature. This is my assumption. I hope I have answered your question.
Little.
Second question.
Second question, I think it is about the again equivalence of different radionuclides taken in. Rather, is it that? Can you repeat the second question, please?
Second question relates to time duration.
Okay.
Let us say very, very long time, say
Okay.
1 year, 2 year exposure to low level gamma rays, low energy gamma rays. I'm just giving an example. It could be X-rays. It could even be cell phone radiation.
Okay.
But let us stick to one type, say gamma rays. Expose very low level of gamma rays for 1 year. And expose the same subject to 2 minutes of high level gamma rays.
So it is already proved that there is an effect of dose rate. Dose, even the same dose is given in different installments, and it is given an acute exposure. The effects are different, though the energy is same. Maybe this has something to do with the recovery capacity of the human body.
Yes. I expect it to be so, because some things will work at atomic level, some things will work at nuclear level, even within DNA or within the rest of the cell area, non-DNA portion of cell area, and may differentially affect the human health. One small observation, sir, is that for 5,000 years, people have been exposed to monazite sands. There any special effects found in Kerala population versus the rest of India, let's say?
No, there is no any statistical evidence to say that there is an effect of radiation on people living around the high background area. This may be because of the number of samples are less, or the effect itself is less. It should not be prudent.
But we can measure what the monazite sands of Kerala emit, how much above normal level, let's say at Bombay or at Bangalore.
But finally, the problem is the converting into the dose. That is, as I mentioned earlier, the pathways, that is a direct exposure and then inhalation, ingestion, and these aspects has to be carried out, and the dosimetry and further calculating the risk is very complex, and a lot of statistical fluctuations are there, and you have to have large number of population, and then only you can think of. And secondly, the comorbidity issues like other
very good Thank you.
Dr. Dr. Parsardi want to comment, I think. Parsardi?
Yeah, please. He is an expert.
Dr. Parsardi want to comment on this?
Yeah, I can, I can get it. This high-level natural background radiation area has been attracting the attention of people for many, many years. There is already a low-level radiation laboratory. They were working there, I think, for the past 40 or 50 years. They have done a number of epidemiological studies, particularly one with the collaboration of the Regional Cancer Center, and they have established that compared to the normal radiation level area and high level radiation area, they are not able to find any difference in diseases like cancer or any of these diseases. Very well established study has been published in good journals. There is always a doubt that radiation may cause birth defects, and so there you may see some, journalists publishing some photographs of children from that area, claiming that it is all due to radiation. And this has been specifically studied, extensively studied, and this group has not found any difference between the natural background radiation area and this particular high-level area. You are asking me about the question of levels of radiation in that, high-level area. The natural background radiation area, the average radiation dose is something like 4 times more than the gamma radiation level in other parts of the country. I won't say all, but average, on an average. Because, if you take, go to area, say if you go to Uttakamand, for instance, it's a high-level area, you get more cosmic rays. So the radiation will be, in addition to the soil radioactivity, there may be cosmic ray contribution coming in. In the case of high-level natural radiation area, like in the Chavaran, Manawala, Kuruchi, that area, it is primarily because the thorium content in the soil. As Dr. Ravi himself explained to you, the major portion of the natural background radiation area is coming from the thorium levels existing in that area. And number of papers, virtually dozens of papers have been written on the content, radioactive content of the HBRA, as well as biological observations of HBRA. Probably the first paper was by a group with a collaboration with WHO, where what they studied was they studied the black rat, in the soil, in the pits in the high level radiation area and in natural radiation level area. I'm sorry, low radiation area. They studied various parameters like the size of bone, teeth size, for instance, and they have studied. It was done in the early 60s. No difference has been found. Okay. Now, Dr. Ravi mentioned about statistical deviation. I can give you one example. If you wanted to study in a population, one of the effects known to be caused by gamma radiation or X radiation is leukemia, the possibility of leukemia. Very extremely small. So attempts have been made to quantify the leukemia. Let us say you want to find out whether leukemia is in excess in the natural background radiation area. Now, if you want to really study that extremely scientifically, assuming that there is a population of about 1 lakh in the high-level natural radiation area, in that population, you may have to study them for 10 years to find out if there is leukemia at twice, slightly above the natural level. So these are all time-consuming methods, but there are standard epidemiological studies, and studies have been designed, and people have undergone all that, and I can assure you that no excess cancer or no birth defect, etc., has been found out. And if at all there is 1 or 2 publications talking about such things, they have been found to have various defects, for instance. In fact, most of these articles from Trombe and from RCC, I have summarized for the benefit of people, readers of Hindu. And if you put the natural background radiation area and K.S. Parthasarathy, you may get some of this in the Hindu publication already. Or if you give me your email, I can send you those publications. Suffice it to say that high-level natural radiation area, nothing. Nothing statistic, as you said, statistically significant. To put it mildly, nothing conspicuous has been found in that area. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Abhi, Dr. Narayan Nair want to ask some question?
Yes,
Dr.
please.
Narayan.
Yes.
Ask me. Yeah.
Oh, can I ask you?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hello. About waste disposal on a long-term basis.
Yeah.
You talked about vitrification, but beyond that, I mean, when it accumulates and from generation to generation, how do we communicate that it is getting accumulated and it is stored somewhere without causing damage to public?
Yeah, there are several proposals for the say final disposal of high-level radioactivity. As you rightly told, it will be vitrified and ensured that this is the integrity of the containment is ensured. And then there is a proposal to put them in the highly the underground mines, etc., so that there is no access to general public. And even if there is any calamity, natural calamity happens, it will not lead to the contamination of the water stream, or it will not come into the biological sphere. This is the proposal, and I think a lot of systematic studies are going on in this aspect.
Okay, now there's a question from Gopalan.
Yeah. Actually, my suggestion is that we can welcome questions from students first. Now I joined.
Yeah.
Thing is that students are not there much because of the exams.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it is April time. No, there are not much students. There are some students, but I don't think there are. Somebody has put a comment here on. Anyway, I will ask afterwards.
And in fact, if students, if they are from Kerala, അവർക്ക് മലയാളത്തിൽ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ചോദിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ അത് കുഴപ്പമില്ല. We will be happy. നമുക്ക് ആൻസർ ചെയ്യാം മലയാളത്തിൽ ആൻസർ ചെയ്യാനും കുഴപ്പമില്ല. ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ ചോദിച്ചാൽ നന്നായിരിക്കും.
Okay. No problem. I will tell them. Okay. Gopalan, continue your question.
Yeah. My question is that nowadays the fly ash is supposed to contain radon and other activities, but nowadays they are allowing fly ash to be used in cement as well as in premix concrete, especially premix concrete. When we order, we don't know how much fly ash they are mixing it. So these things, anybody has measured this radioactivity in fly ash and how safe it is? Now fly ash bricks are used for construction of the house itself. So has any study has been done regarding this radiation effect of this?
Yeah. This comes under the norms. I mean, the naturally occurring radioactive material under ERB regulation process also. And in fact, there is a low-level laboratory at BARC hospital, which continuously, they get sample from various industries, inform the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, and they ensure that its use is safely done.
No, but
Continue.
But there is no legal standard or legal restriction of how much radiation is allowed in the fly ash bricks.
Yeah. There is a limit.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Yeah. Go ahead, Prasad.
Late 80s, if you recall, Dr. U.C. Misra and his group has measured coal samples and fire samples from large number of coal power stations in the country. They published the data. Levels have been. Of course, the coal ash will definitely contain more than in the coal. And a reference has been made to the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board on the very same question Mr. Gopalan was raising, that what is the impact of contamination in the building, etc. And my understanding was the radiation levels, activity levels, etc. They have gone through their data. They have not recommended anything special, and not only this coal ash, primarily another contaminant or another waste material which is radioactively contaminated is a phosphogypsum. If you know, you may see in any fertilizer plant, near fertilizer plant, you may see tons and tons of phosphatic gypsum laying there, and they are pretty active because of radium. A reference has been made on this also to the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Now, in these cases, the percentage of radioactive material used in making plasterboard or bricks, etc., are low. And my understanding is that their assessment of this issue showed that it is not of concern at the moment. And you have to keep a track. If some highly active things comes up, something has to be done. And in some countries, they have prescribed certain limits of radioactivity in building materials. Some advisory sort of things have been done in other countries. So that's the current status.
Sir, I might just add to your last sentence that I live in US. Every time I buy and sell property,
I know,
residential, I have to certify for radon presence as well as asbestos.
Oh, good.
Okay.
It's a very good thing you brought it out. Very good thing you brought it out. In India, measurement has been done in all type of houses. What are the type of radon levels that may come up in various locations? And what they found was the natural ventilation itself in India, because we don't have cold climate, itself is of the order of 1 air change per hour. Whereas what you suggested, particularly in winter, I have myself measured radon daughter levels in US. Certainly, some houses will be worse than uranium mines, the type of levels, So it was nice that this was brought up in the, I think most of the work came in early 70s, and it has become a major issue for the EPA. So they have prescribed certain levels, and they have, large number of companies came up to make this measurement. And Dr. Kotrappa, who was one of our senior scientists who migrated to US, after that he has started a company to make these measurements routinely. Late Dr. Kotrappa, There have a number of companies. What you said is relevant, and they also have every year they have a radon week celebration. These issues are very varied because the levels are rather high there. Thank you.
Dr. Vijay Kumar is there? Vijay Kumar want to ask a question. Vijay Kumar. B. Vijay Kumar. Where is Vijay Kumar?
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, yes.
Sir, I have put the question in the chat box. Actually, my question is at multi-facility sites like a nuclear complex where many reactor types are there, like BWR, LWR, PHWR, and also reprocessing plants, waste management plants, etc. How to resolve the final public dose and attribute it to different facilities, especially when we are dealing in microsievert level, and it may be subject to a large uncertainty also.
Good question.
Yeah. There is a standard procedure for apportioning this. What they say is you have to consider first of all the likely what are the possible expansion within that site. And for each site, you should have the value for the radiation at the exclusion zone, and you should also consider the fallout, the dose from the fallout, and also if there is any plant which is a little far away, say 5 kilometers away or from something like that, that dose from that also has to be considered, and all these aspects has to be considered, and finally you have to ensure that with all those things, the dose will not exceed 1 millisievert per year to the member of the public.
Okay, okay. Now there is one question by my Savitri. Who is Savitri? Savitri has some question. Hello. She's asking. Oh my God. Or anybody want to ask question now? Anybody want to ask question?
Yes, can I ask one more?
Yeah, you can ask.
Yeah, see, there were at least a dozen nuclear accidents, some very major ones like Fukushima and so on. So what further steps have been taken to ensure that such accidents do not take place, or if they take place, the consequences are less than what had happened earlier?
No, it's a very good question. In fact, for every accident like Chernobyl or even TMI or whatever is there, there was always a discussion among the nuclear operators, and there is a continuous discussion regarding the safety aspects. And in fact, the safety aspects have been continuously improved. Because of the input, due to the input from the various accidents, including Chernobyl. So there is a lot of improvement in the design, and design aspect have been made, taking into account the experience from Chernobyl.
One minute. Hello. Please mute. Who are not asking question, please mute. Hello. Who is not asking question, please mute. Okay. Continue, Ravi.
Hope I have answered your question. So there is definitely a lot of improvement has been taken place in the design aspect, taking the input from various experiences from various accidents.
Dr. Sundararajan, you are asking a question? Dr. Sundararajan. Sundararajan is there, I think. Dr. Sundararajan? Hello? Yeah. Please.
No, I just made a comment regarding the multi-unit facilities.
Yeah.
There is a very good AERB guide document which helps the apportionment of environmental dose to various units in a single facility.
Okay. Savitri, you want to ask some question? Savitri, where are you? I don't ever see. Dr. MRIer?
She is not able to unmute herself.
Okay. She has some question. Are there any limitation to the current process of environmental monitoring? Please mute, please.
Sorry.
All of you mute. Are there any known limitation to the current process of environmental monitoring of radioactivity currently used in India? This is a question. Devi.
You mean?
Are there any known limitation to the current process of environmental monitoring? That was a question.
No, I think the present monitoring system is convincingly able to assess the dose to the member of the public. And of course, there is a possibility that we are using some of the parameters like model parameters, which is default parameters. And if you go for site-specific parameters, and also if you use improve the modeling aspect more accurately, considering the conditions prevailing in our country, like continuous rain and all those things. If these aspects have been factored properly, there is a good scope for further improvement in environmental modeling and impact assessment.
Okay, thank you. Now, Dr. Nambudiri, E.G. Nambudiri, your last question. Nambudiri. Hello.
And time permits, I want Dr. Ravi to tell something about his present job and the work he was doing in BRC, that is in some comparison.
Oh, Mangalore and BRC.
Yeah. Compared to BRC, what in difference is there? What's it?
Mangalore University has established a laboratory which can measure the very low levels of radioactivity in the environment, and especially they have the method they have standardized a procedure for estimating the C14 in organically form as well as in normal form, and now they are able to estimate the impact 14. For the first time, I must say, they continuously monitored the C14 in air, biota, etc., very low level, and also they also have the methodology for estimating the organically bound tritium, which is also, again, they have extensive data has been collected around the Kaiga site as part of one of the PRNS project, and now they have the capability to do that very low levels of in addition to other cesium-137, strontium-90, etc., they have the additional capability to do this C14 organically bound C14 and tritium, which is very important for PSWR type reactors. In fact, the C14 from PSWR type reactors are comparatively higher as compared to other types of reactors.
Okay, Ravi, can I ask one question?
Yeah, please.
You know that recently in the paper, there's a lot of report about the Fukushima contaminated water being released to sea.
Yeah.
From Fukushima, they're going to release contaminated water into the sea.
Yeah.
What is there are a lot of comments about that, especially in Kerala. Kerala papers have given a lot of prominence. So what is the consequence of that? What is exactly happening?
No, you mean actually there was immediately after Fukushima, there was a task group was set up at BARC, and they carried out a very, very systematic study on the effect of Fukushima on Japanese population as well as also for Indian population. So they collected, in fact, we had a continuous monitoring of the radionuclides like iodine-131, cesium-137, etc. in air, water, and biota. Almost every day, we continuously monitored in all the power station sites, and they reported data on a regular basis, and it was available in the public domain. And we could convincingly say that Fukushima has not given any impact, radiological impact, to the people in India. Of course, there are
no. My question is that the release of water stored in Fukushima to the sea. There is now they are going to release to the sea. Now they are going to release water from Fukushima, contaminated water. What is there is a lot of objection. What is the view about that? I'm talking about that.
No, I'm sure they would have
stored water in Fukushima.
Yeah,
10 billion liters stored.
You mean that what is a strategy?
No strategy
for disposal of that water.
No, they are all going to release
what
it.
Will happen to that?
What will happen to why
the impact?
Yeah, of course.
What is the impact of that?
Yeah, it gets actually like any other effluent which is going to the water. It gets first of all dispersed because depending upon the current, the sea current and all those things, and it gets diluted like anything. And then further, it may be picked up by fishes and all those things, and may get bioaccumulated on the fish. And if somebody eats that fish, that there is a chance of that person getting the dose. But I think they would have, before doing this, they are supposed to do a environmental impact assessment to ensure the concentration in seafood is well within the limits, because especially the Japanese people take a lot of seafood like seaweeds and also.
Okay. Anybody else want to ask question? Anybody else? Otherwise, we will stop it.
I would like to ask one question.
Yeah.
See, all these environmental labs
around
nuclear power station.
Yeah.
They are doing a commendable job, and they have given an assurance to the population that the radioactive nuclide release is highly insignificant. But in spite of that, whenever you start a nuclear power station, there is a lot of opposition from the public, nearby population. Why we are not able to convince the people even now, even though we had a good track record of operating all nuclear power stations without any safety problem, but still I feel that the population around the new power station, still they have got the apprehension about a new nuclear power plant. So in which way we can go ahead with that? Further we can improve that.
Good question.
I think I fully appreciate the importance of the question. Of course, we have to improve our communication skill.
PR job. A PR job.
Because though the communicating the science to the general public is not an easy job. So, and a lot of issues like politics comes into picture, and economics, politics, science is not becomes sometimes irrelevant actually. Other issues dominates. So there is a need to address these politics and economical issues. Then only one has to really understand what is the problem of the public. Then only we can solve it.
Okay. Pradeep Kumar, you want to ask question? Pradeep Kumar.
Thank you.
Pradeep Kumar.
Yeah, mine is not a question. I thought I will add to the reply regarding the Fukushima releases, the future and the concern.
Yeah.
See, basically, why the concern or the worry happens is people look at only the number or the quantity of radioactivity which may be released to the environment. What is more important is what quantity gets to the closeness of the people, or what quantity can lead to any exposure if at all possible. See, the volume of the water to which it is discharged, as Dr. Ravi mentioned, it is too large to have any impact, even if it is getting into the shore, or even if a small quantity get into the fish, to have any radiological impact to the public. So don't look at to the large quantity which they mentioned. I will validate this statement by one example. Fukushima released mega curies of radioactivity into the environment after an accident. But what is the highest dose to the people? They got extremely small. But a case like Mayapur in India, 20 curie, such a small fraction of this got into the environment, was broken, one person died. So what radioactivity comes into the proximity of the person, externally or internally, that makes the difference. So even if Fukushima, such a large quantity is going to get released, even if it is getting into the sediment form in the nearby shore or through the fish, the radiation exposure which is going to cause is extremely small.
Good. Thank you. Dr. Mr. Avinash Rai.
Yes, sir. I am a student of Ravi, sir, and I just wanted to add. I just wanted to add to the last question, that is about the comprehensions between the people of residing near nuclear power plants.
Okay.
So whenever we go to evaluate do any kind of calculations, the CSF people itself, they ask us question, इससे कुछ हमको बुरा होने वाला है क्या? So we are not able to, as a community, we have not able to instill confidence in the people of CASF itself. I think something has to be done on that aspect so that we can gain the confidence of the public in the vicinity of a nuclear power plant.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I
think our Avnish like people who are well trained in the these radioactivity estimation and all, and they will be good ambassador in future for communicating science to general public.
Okay. I think anybody want to ask a question now? Otherwise, we'll stop.
Yes, a parting comment to reflect on for those who are in the fission game. With the amount of radioactive waste that we have generated in Hanford, Savannah, and in many places it's going to happen in Japan, France, and India. We are going to have to face with one fact, that the technologies for encapsulating, making glasses out of it, etc., with long-term survival on the earth is one approach. The other approach could be large expandable rockets taking very concentrated radioactivity and throwing it into the sun.
Oh my God.
This is 100-year plan, but that is the only way other than Yucca Mountains.
Can I add something? I'm sorry.
Add. Please.
This is Parthasarathi.
Yes, sir.
A lot of very interesting discussion was going on. Regarding the waste management, what we have done thus far is to develop the technology of vitrification. And mind you, in India, we are not going to throw away the fuel. It will be reprocessed. We will recover plutonium, which is going to be the backbone for our three-stage program. We will be removing other radioactive nucleus also. In the vitrification process, most of the activity will be in the medium range, like cesium, strontium-90, etc. And this process has been completed. Of course, some more advancement can be done, but there are already vitrification plants existing in the country. They have done their own already. So far as deep geological deposition is concerned, which is widely accepted world over, some studies have been done, but exact location, etc., is not available at the moment. But they have done state-of-the-art technology in processing the radioactive waste in the form of vitrified glass. And as far as the reactor-produced radioactive nucleus are concerned, these are some of them are already stored in intermediate level laboratories. This is all being done. Not that we have not done anything so far. One interesting question came about what happens after the accident. What did you do? And let me invite. I forgot who asked that question. Every time that accident has happened, there has been thorough investigation on the cause of the accident, how it happened, how it affects our power station, etc. And there is an excellent review of all those accidents, including Fukushima. Actually, the primary focus is on Fukushima. It is available in the NPCIL website. So I suggest that I can send you this, or you can Google it with NPCIL, Fukushima. If you do that, there is an excellent presentation, some 68 slides or so, which has, I was just now looking at it, it has very comprehensively covered what has been done in the country. And most of the things are in the public domain. Reports are available. They are also in the public domain. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Partha.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Now, I think this is the last question. I think no more question. I think we'll stop it. Now, I request Dr. Krishna Prasad to propose a vote of thanks.
Kutty sir, one suggestion.
Yeah, tell me.
That while editing in the YouTube, when you are editing YouTube, kindly include some of the interesting discussions.
Questions. Okay. Usually, I don't add question part. Okay, we can add that. That's a good. Today it was a very interesting question. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Can I speak
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, Prasad.
I just want to add one sentence to the Fukushima question. See, the paper reports in Malayalam, it has come, and local daily, I have read it, all of them. The funny thing is, they are only quoting the large tons of waste being discharged. They are not telling the concentration. But mind you, the concentration at which they are released to the sea is as per international standards. Every country has got standards approved by the IAEA, and Japan also is following the standards, and they are not going to release activity more than the concentration allowed by the standards of the international standards and the national standards also. That has never come in any of these papers. They only say so many thousands of tons being released. But then
it has created panic among people.
They also added
many people have questioned me. Many people ask me why.
The very fact that these being released over a span of 70 or 80 years.
Why? Our BRC people has not responded. We could have responded. By our PRO job, somebody has to be responded. Nobody has responded.
They are taking so many years to release it because to maintain the concentration at the lower level as specified by the regulatory authorities. That is the most important thing.
Okay.
We have been listening to an expert talk on the environmental monitoring methods and its importance around the nuclear facilities by Dr. P.M. Devi, who was head in the environmental surveillance section of BRC, and he shares the experiences of working in a nuclear power station and the complexities involved in measuring the very low levels of radioactivity. Okay, so it's my bounden duty to propose a vote of thanks. First of all, our thanks are due to Dr. Ravi for accepting our invitation for giving this talk. These talks are due to AERAK, that is Atomic Energy Retirees Association Kerala, and this Public Awareness Committee headed by Dr. T.R.G. Kutty. Our series of talks have been possible due to the constant support and engagement given by our President, Dr. Srinal Kaimal, and Secretary, Dr. KKP Nair. Also, the work shared by the Executive Committee members is also appreciated here. In all the web seminars, the success of the seminars is due to the large number of retirees of BRC participating in it, plus CSIR scientists and other scientists from other laboratories, and also the graduate and postgraduate students from many colleges in and around Kerala. This is what has made this seminars a great success. So I thanks to all for having a nice talk now.
Thank you, Prasad. Thank you, Dr. Ravi. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot
for excellent talk. Very good. We are recording your talk. We'll edit it a little bit, then we'll put it in YouTube. Okay. Okay, sir. I think we'll stop it now. I think it's already 9:45. Okay. Good night. Shubhratri. Okay, bye.